Chess Olympiad 2014 from Tromso, Norway. It's going to be a great Olympiad. They're predicting that 100 million people will watch the games online. 1,500 different competitors, as well as 160 nations. What a great event. I'm told this is the 4th largest sporting event in the world. Don't miss any of the action. Hi folks, John Cordisco here. Another game from round 1 of the 41st Chess Olympiad, currently being played in Tromso, Norway. This is going to be from the women's section. It's between the teams Russia and Jordan. For Russia, my girl there, I like Katrina a lot, Katrina Lagno. Used to play for Ukraine, now plays for Russia. And for Jordan, last name is Dahdal. Dahdal. Oh yeah, I'm sure I butchered that. D-A-H-D-A-L. Anyway, first name Lagno. This is going to be a Sicilian 4 knights. Let's get to it. Lagno is white. Dahdal is black. I think I'll just call her Lagno. It's a little easier. We're going to go through this pretty quickly here. It's just a closed Sicilian. I should say Sicilian 4 knights. Bishop. G4. Pawn. Bishop. Knight. Now, got my Fritz computer on off screen, and it already has over a point advantage for white, which I'm really surprised. This is an interesting Sicilian. I've never played this one before. 4 knights is probably more my style. A3, Bishop D6. Interesting might have been F5, and after E takes, Bishop takes, Bishop takes. Probably castle would be good for black, if you notice, if black castles. And pawn takes. Got the queen and the rook right here on the king. Pretty bad news for white. After bishop d6, bishop e3, hitting the queen. Queen moves back. And this is a move I like a lot, and the computer agrees. F4. Just go for it. You know, no fooling around. You're probably going to castle on the queen side. Let's get our typical Sicilian opposite side castling pawn storm. And black also makes the correct move. F5. Maybe queen to h3, but she decides to go queen to f3. If she had gone queen to d1, computer suggests bishop all the way back, which is interesting. e5, d6, pawn takes, queen takes, bishop takes. Shows a point and a quarter advantage for white, but I think black sits okay. The only problem I see with that scenario is the backward e-pawn. After queen to f3, f takes, knight takes, bishop c7. Now I notice a lot of these games, and remember a rule, I'm in my late 50s, when I was a boy, a teenage boy learning how to play chess, and I'm still learning how to play, by the way. When you go to recapture, you try to recapture with a piece of the least value. That's probably why she didn't take with the queen. Put the queen in the center of the board. Took with the knight, which is a much better piece in the center. Plus, it's got some really good squares to go to. You got this square, you got here. And there she goes, knight to f6 check, forcing the king to move. Now, it shows a less of an advantage for white, but I'll tell you the truth. I think having that king out in the open like that, I don't think that's a good idea at all. I think white sits much better than the 3/4 of a pawn that the computer gives it. Remember, those are computer suggestions. They're not really... When you see your king out in the open like that, it has a psychological effect on you. Knight to g4. Rook comes over. He's going to castle by hand. Bishop d2. If Katrina had castled instead, h5, then after knight checks, king comes over, knight takes, and pawn takes. Black king's a little safer, but after bishop to d2, knight to d5, castle long, of course, a6. Now this is a good time here to sit and try to figure out, and this is why I have trouble in my games, to formulate a plan. Well, what's a good plan here for white? You've got to develop your light squared bishop, that's a given. Bring your rook over, maybe over, bishop up, maybe rook over. Maybe start pawn storm here, open up the king. That's about the only plan I could see so far. And she does go bishop to c4. And black goes knight. Knight to c5. Get right in there. Cause some harm. I mean, you're hitting some key squares here. Knight can come back here, bring it around, or even come here. Nice. And look at this poor light squared bishop for black. Boy, I'll tell you, it's talk about being hemmed in. Computer has suggested maybe instead f5. Then after g takes, bishop, bishop, bishop takes, f takes, g takes, knight takes, queen takes, king e8. Instead of going back out here, out in the open. And I'll tell you the truth, I like that scenario a lot better. Maybe she should have played f5. She went knight to c5 though. And this is where I think black stumbles a little. Computer calls for king to g8, which makes perfect sense, finishing what I call hand castling. Or maybe h5 to kick the knight off. She decides to go d6. And I'll tell you, the points go up a little bit for white. Katrina Lagno is 2¼ points up now. If she had gone king to g8 after rook, queen, knight checks, king to g7, it's not great, but I think it's a little bit better. The queen's in the defense now. So you can eventually, it's going to take a long time, but pawn, try to get this bishop out maybe, I'm not sure. After d6, knight to e4, bring that other knight right in there. Go after it. b5. She checks first. King to g7. What do they call that? The Zwischenzug. The in-between move. Bishop takes the knight. Maybe bishop check is better. And after e5, bishop takes, knight takes, rook takes, queen e7. And that's a full piece up. And that's game over. But anyway, she played bishop takes, knight takes. Now here's a really, really good move. See if you can find it. What to do, what to do. What would you do as white right here? What is an absolute fantastic move? Pause the video now and see if you can find it. Give you a couple of seconds. The great move, queen takes d5. Excellent. Pawn takes, bishop checks, rook to f6, bishop checks, queen takes, knight takes, king takes, knight takes check. I mean, you're up the exchange and a pawn after all of that. King comes back to g7, knight goes back to g5. Bishop, rook hd1. It's over a 5-point advantage for white right now. I mean, that king is just doomed. And look at that dark squared bishop on c7. Just worthless for black. King to f6 coming up. Rook takes. Bring your other rook up. Trying to put pressure here. c3 stops that in a hurry. Bishop back to b8. h3. Rook to c4. Rook to e8. Here we go. Surrounding the king. Rook takes. Rook takes. King takes. g4. And that's the end. She just couldn't take it anymore. So Lagno, Dahdal resigns. Great game by Katrina, my girl. Looks like the women's Russian team is going to be doing pretty well this year. Anyway, folks, just thought I'd show you a game from the women's section. So to tell you the truth, I know from the U.S. Championship, women really play each other hard. They're a lot more decisive game in the women's sections than there are in the men's, and they're a lot more fun to watch as well. Anyway, that's one of the games from round one, and I want to thank all my new subscribers. I'm up almost to 150 subscribers now. I thought I would never get nearly that amount. And to all of you that have subscribed, thank you very much. And to those that haven't, please do. Anyway, folks, like I always say at the end of my videos, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.